Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to our Buddy to Boss podcast. In this podcast, Liv will be interviewing Matthew Portelli, who is one of our LSMs in our Adelaide office. Enjoy. Hi Matthew, thank you so much for coming to a session of From Buddy to Boss. Welcome, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Right. So I'm an LSM in Adelaide for the residential maintenance team. Currently we're doing the role for about, say, 5 months. I originally was a technician for about a year and a half before making that transition.
And what prompted you to take that jump?
Well, there was a vacancy in that position, and I thought I'll put my name in the ring, really. I was previously a succession plan to my LSM. So I did know some of the stuff that was involved behind the scenes prior to that when I was slowly working on the succession plan throughout the probably 3-4 months leading up to the role being available. So that worked out well and I got the job. So
excellent. Well, congratulations. It sounds like you may have had a couple of situations where you've had to manage your previous peers who now report into you. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Look, most of it's been really good. I've enjoyed it. I was lucky enough to be like a lot of my team were new, and I was in part of their training process because I was classified as almost a senior tech. So I did help them train. So I did build that rapport with them, which worked out really well when I became an LSM as well, because they did have like some level of respect towards me, and it wasn't just me going from a mate straight to a boss. So there was a bit of like a leadership there, I believe. Yeah.
That's a nice transition to go into the role for you, which is awesome. Yeah. Have you had any situations where you've been mates with someone and have now had to manage them?
I tried not to get too close to my work colleagues because in my previous job I had done that, and that's where it was quite difficult. I was mates with them and it was impossible to tell them off, and having to put them in line, and there was always a bit of friction outside of work, which isn't always great. But this time round I've come into this company with a different outlook and learned from that and made sure that I've set my boundaries from the get-go.
Yeah, boundaries are really important, aren't they? So tell us about your previous learning then. It sounds like you're in another role where you've had a couple of challenges.
Yeah, I was previously a kitchen manager.
Okay.
So but because I had been with the company for about 14 years prior to coming to Rentokil, I was almost like part of the furniture there. Anyone that came in, I befriended them, and we just, probably wasn't the best way to go about it, but yeah.
What was difficult about that?
It was hard to find the line between obviously being a boss and being a mate, and bringing, like, when we do things outside of work, bringing work problems with me and going through it with them still, even though that should have just been just our time sort of together outside of work, and kept it sort of separate in a way.
Yeah, it can be a fine line, can't it? The friends versus the sort of boss, if you will. Yeah. That's great that you took some learnings into your future role.
Yeah, so it's worked out this time around.
And would you have any tips or suggestions for people moving into an LSM role?
Just be yourself. You've been given this opportunity in this role for a reason. You've gone through, like, obviously the interview processes, and they've obviously managers and hiring managers have looked at you and said, like, "Oh, you're ready. You look like the right person for this role." So just believe in yourself.
Yeah,
I think would be the main thing.
That's great advice. Anything else that you want to add?
You always find, like, in this, because some of it's new, it is new, and you're always going to make mistakes, but the best thing to do is just to own it, learn from it, and just build on. I think that would be the biggest tip of them all.
Yeah, it is a learning journey, isn't it? You don't become born a wonderful leader.
And you're never going to be perfect. Every day there's always a new situation that you've never experienced, and you might not have handled it well, but you can always look back and just reflect on it and be like, look, this is what I've done right and this is what I've done wrong. What can I do moving forward? That's why I've always looked at things.
Do you have anyone you can go to for help, to check in or have a conversation with?
In work or just outside of work in general?
Either or.
Work, I've got like the other LSMs that have been here for a little bit longer. They've really helped me and mentored me when I've needed like the help or situations where I'm unsure about. So they talk me through it and show me what to do. Outside of work, I've always got my wife, which is fantastic. So she hears a lot of my issues as well. Yeah.
I think it's part of the marital contract, isn't it?
I think so too. It's vice versa.
And it's so awesome that you've got internal mentors that can support you.
Yeah. No, it's been good.
They're very handy. All right, Matt. Well, thank you so much for your time.
That's all right.